I'm realizing through this debt payoff process that it's not really about one financial decision. It's about hundreds of smaller decisions that happen every single week. What I eat, what I buy, what I justify, what I avoid. I'm starting to notice my spending habits in a completely different way now. Earlier this week, I picked up groceries for meal prep. Chicken, broccoli, deli turkey, skim milk, simple stuff. Nothing fancy. But I'm trying to get better about planning meals ahead instead of constantly defaulting to convenience spending or takeout. What's becoming really clear is that small decisions like this add up over time. Not just financially, but mentally too. I also spent some time DoorDashing this week. A few years ago, I probably would have looked at extra income as extra spending money. Now I look at it completely differently. Every extra dollar has a purpose. And seeing extra money go toward debt feels more rewarding than random spending used to. This week, I ended up making a little over $450. What's interesting is that I'm starting to think differently about time and money now too. A few hours here and there may not feel life-changing immediately, but when that money directly lowers debt balances, it starts feeling meaningful pretty quickly. I still try to make room for things I enjoy too. Every Thursday, I play in a golf league with a friend. And I think that balance matters. Because I don't want this journey to become never spend money again. I want it to become spend intentionally. That feels very different to me. I'm learning pretty quickly that debt payoff isn't really about being perfect. It's more about awareness. And I actually had a small setback this week. Originally, I planned to throw the remaining extra money from this paycheck toward my next debt payment. But instead, I used part of it to pay off a Hume pod I recently bought. This is the kind of stuff I'm still trying to figure out, because not every purchase is completely irresponsible. But at the same time, every dollar I spend somewhere else is a dollar that's not going toward debt. So now I'm trying to get better at asking myself, is this helping my long-term goals or am I just justifying spending again? This week is also payday for me. I get paid bi-monthly, so the dates move around a little depending on the calendar. And part of this process is now planning ahead instead of just reacting when money hits my account. I'm also starting to understand the difference between minimum payments and actual extra progress. For example, one of my minimum payments was already scheduled with this paycheck. So when I calculate the extra money I'm throwing at debt, I don't count that payment twice. That probably sounds obvious, but a big part of this process for me has been learning to think about money more intentionally instead of emotionally. Watching the balances finally start moving downward feels really different now. For a long time, debt felt abstract, like something I was constantly carrying around but never really confronting directly. Now it finally feels like I'm actively changing it. I still have a long way to go, and I know there are probably going to be more setbacks, bad decisions, and unexpected expenses along the way. But the biggest shift happening right now is that I'm finally paying attention. Not perfectly, but consistently. And I think that's probably the first real step towards fixing all of this.